Hey, what's up, everybody? You might recognize the table. I'm back in Hong Kong after spending 4 days in New York to check out Xiaomi and Huawei's new phone. It was really tiring because I only had 4 days there, and the weather was really bad. And then I had to meet them separately, and then immediately produce a video here, and also write 2 articles for Forbes and this other website that I write for. So anyway, I'm back in Hong Kong. Immediately had a package waiting for me. Like, I literally just got back. I mean, my luggage is actually still right there. I just barely opened up my luggage. Just got home, but immediately went back to work. Have an unboxing here. This is the Meizu M6S. So this is Meizu's mid-tier device that was announced. Actually, it was announced like a month ago. This is Meizu's first slim bezeled phone. Relatively slim bezeled. It's slim for Meizu, but it's not as slim as like the phones we've been seeing from like Vivo or Samsung. So, but the design looks good though. This is my first time holding this phone physically, but I've seen photos of it and stuff. Okay. So you can tell this is one of Meizu's mid-tier device, because when it's a mid-tier device, they always package it in this kind of generic white box. Whereas when you get a flagship, like the Meizu Pro 7 or Pro 6, it comes in this nice metal box. So we have papers, SIM ejector tool, a USB. I'm hoping this is USB-C. No, it is not. It's This is micro USB. And then right here should be a China plug. Okay, so that's it. A very bare bones unboxing. Let's get to my favorite part. I'll peel off the back first. Okay, I'm quite liking this really bright blue. I still probably prefer black, but rather have this than like gold or silver. So let's peel off the front. We'll be able to see the slim bezels. So let's check out the specs real quick. 5.7 inch, 18:9 aspect ratio display. 720p resolution, however, and then this runs on an Exynos 7872, so it's a Samsung chipset. So yeah, let me power up the device. So this phone is notable because Meizu phones, if you've used them before, they always have a home button right here, which I liked a lot. 2 years ago, it was pretty cool in how that they came up with a system where you tap to go back or you press to go home. So it was pretty intuitive. So Meiju's obviously no more home button, so they've developed a new system of soft buttons, and I think you can swipe and do all that stuff. And the fingerprint reader is now on the side of the phone, like a Sony device. I generally think side fingerprint scanners are fine because my thumb reaches it automatically, or when I'm holding on my other hand than this finger. So, okay, I'm gonna set this up. I'll be back. Hey guys, so I'm back with the Meizu M6S. So let's talk specs really quick. So you have a 5.7 inch display with 18:9 aspect ratio, a resolution of 1440 by 720. So it's not the most crisp display out there, but given that this phone is priced at 150 to start, I don't think you can really complain. 3000 milliamp battery inside, so that's a pretty good sized battery for a phone that's relatively light and petite, easy to grab, and only 720p panel. So battery should be enough to last the whole day. You have a 16 megapixel camera on the back, f2.0 aperture. I like that it's only single camera, none of that second camera kind of gimmick. I feel like if you can't do a legit second camera, then just please don't do it. So this unit I have has 3 gigs of RAM with 32 gigs of internal storage. So it's like the lowest variant. You can get up to 3 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs of storage, but there's SD card support too. So the chipset inside, it's an Exynos 7872. It's a 6-core processor. So this is notable because Meizu have been using mostly MediaTek chipsets before. So they did use an Exynos chipset a couple years back, I believe with the Pro 6. So this is a return to Samsung's chipset, and it's a little bit more powerful than the standard MediaTek fare. So let's check out benchmarks really quick. Went on Geekbench. It scored a 1205 single core, 2846 multi-core. So the single core is actually respectable. Usually when I test budget devices at this price range at 150 bucks, the single core is at like 650, 700 points. So 1205 is not bad. Multi-core, it's a little bit lacking though, could be better. I also checked out PC Mark. I'm not sure if the score will show because this app has this bug that sometimes it just won't show the score. That's why I have to grab a screenshot. So, yep, it's not showing, but I grabbed the screenshot because I'm prepared for that stupid buggy PC Mark. So it scored a 4,744. So that's decent. The Xiaomi Mi Mix 2S that I'm testing right now, this is like the most powerful phone yet. It scored like an 8,500. So this phone is twice as powerful as this phone, although not in the same price range, but just giving you a reference. 4,744, it's respectable though for a phone that's 150 bucks. So now let's look at the hardware again. You have the volume rockers right here on the left side, and otherwise it's pretty clean. SIM tray right here on the left. The top is clean other than the mic. Camera, really nice. Only a very minor bump. Like the design in the back is very clean. That typical Meizu curved antenna design. So a fun fact, Meizu actually started doing this curved antenna lines before everybody. They did it before Apple did it, and they did it before Oppo too. So because a lot of people think this is like the Apple look, but no, Meizu did it first with the MX6, I believe. So on the right side, as mentioned during the unboxing, it's a fingerprint scanner and a power button. So after I've used it for a bit, I'm a bit iffy on this location. So granted, it's mostly just me because I hold my phone with my left hand. So I hold my phone like this. The fingerprint reader, it's a little bit high for me to reach with my middle or my index finger, because when you hold a phone normally, your index finger doesn't wrap around the phone. So how do I have to unlock the phone? I have to either bring up my middle finger, kind of stretch a little bit like this, or I have to kind of just move my grip and do this. So now granted, that's a problem that's for me and maybe other people who are left-handed, because if you hold a phone right-handed, you get to reach the fingerprint reader a lot easier because your thumb, it's just natively in this position. But I think Meizu could have put this location a little bit lower, because on Samsung's Xperia phones, they also have a fingerprint sensor on the side, and it's in the middle so that I can reach it with either the left or right hand. Now, as it is right now, it's a little bit high up. It's hard for me to reach with my left hand. I have to do this. And I think this fingerprint sensor is just a little bit thin, so your finger has to be kind of hit it properly. I would say every 10 times I do it, there'll be once or twice where it doesn't register because the fingerprint reader is a little bit awkward. Whereas, you know, when you have it on the back in a good location like Xiaomi, it works like 99% of the time. Probably like I can do this 100 times and I only come up with a mistake like once. It'll work like 99 times. Whereas this, if I do this 100 times, I might get it to work maybe like 89 or 90 times. So it makes a big difference, you know? Like, because you unlock your phones, think about how often you unlock your phone, like 200 times, 300 times a day. So even if there's a success rate that's a little bit lower, you notice it. So the biggest change to this phone, it's Meizu has slimmed down the bezels a little bit. I'm a little bit disappointed because if you listen to Meizu's marketing, they will call this like a slimmed bezeled phone. But if you really look at this, by 2018, this isn't that slim. I mean, you can get a lot of budget Chinese phones, you know, like the no-name phones from like Blueboo, Oukitel, and they'll have bezels that are even a little bit slimmer. And those phones, you can have them for like $100. So, you know, Meizu, this phone is cheap enough that I'm not going to complain and say it's like a flaw. But at the same time, it's very hard for me to call this a slim bezeled phone when I'm holding stuff like the Vivo V9 or like stuff like the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2S. Now again, it's not quite a fair comparison because of the price difference. But I can have a Blackview S8 for 120 bucks, and it looks maybe a little bit slimmer bezel too. So anyway, Meizu slimmed down the bezels a bit and got rid of the home button. Instead, in its place is a software button. That's pretty cool. So it still works like a typical Meizu M back button if you're familiar with Meizu. So how it works is, I'll go into a picture really quick. So you tap it once to go back, or you force touch. You press it harder to go home. And there's actually like a force touch taptic engine in there. So you can actually feel the pressure when you press it hard. And then another cool thing I like is you can swipe left or right to jump between apps. See, it's not as fast as jumping on like an iPhone 10, but it works, so I can jump left and right. But one thing that disappoints me is the bezel on the bottom. It's already not thin, as I mentioned, and then on top of that, this button takes up an entire chunk of space. I mean, look at how much space it takes up. So if you look at it now from the back, there's a lot of wasted space. So even though this is a 5.7-inch display, this part of the display is gone because of this digital bezel. So now the screen is actually from here to here. So that's wasted space, and that's the case for a lot of apps too. So when you open even stuff like Instagram, there's that giant bar right there that blocks it. So now you're watching Instagram stories, it only fills up from here to here instead of the full 5.7-inch. So performance on this is okay. The Samsung Exynos processor is good enough to handle. Oh, this game is so tough. I can't game and talk at the same time, man. But the Samsung processor is good enough. Exynos, oh shit. Okay, I can't game and play, but I played this game for a little bit. I watched some YouTube videos and everything ran fine. Alright, since I mentioned YouTube, let's check videos. So 5.7-inch display, you can stretch the video to fill the entire screen, which I like. Colors look a little bit dull, not the best screen. This is the LCD panel. Viewing angle seems pretty good. So we'll check volume. 50% volume. Only single fine speaker on the bottom, so you can easily mute it. You see how basically you can't hear anything right now. So 50%. So that's 100%. A little bit distorted at 100% and not much bass. It's passable for a media consumption device. The color's a little bit dull. Let me switch to a more colorful video to see if it turns out a little better. It might just be that video is a little bit boring. Okay, so this looks a little better. It still doesn't pop up the screen the way a lot of other phones do. I'm not even just talking about like a Samsung. You know, even on a Vivo V9, pops a lot more. But it's 150 bucks. It is what it is. This is about on par with all the other phones I've tested at this price range, like the Blueboo S8, Liegu S8, all of that. But this phone is better than those phones in that the software is a lot cleaner, because Meizu software, it's more optimized, and it's officially authorized by Google. So software is pretty smooth. I am actually a fan of Meizu software. You can swipe down to bring down a notification, for example, and I really like that they have the draw on the screen gesture. So right now I've set it so you draw C to launch camera. So right now it's going to go into camera. So you see, it's not that fast, but it works. And you can set other apps too. So you can say like draw an E to launch Facebook, or an E to launch Snapchat or whatever. So let's talk about that camera. The camera app is pretty easy to use. Focus is relatively fast. Single camera on the back, so not a lot of tricks. Meizu's beauty mode, it's if you care about that, it's pretty useful. I actually find it better than Vivo's beauty mode, and you know that one supposedly has like AI helping. So we'll check this out. I'm gonna show you the effects on that. So this is me normal, and you can dial it up. So you see how my eyes got bigger and my face got slimmer and my bad skin. I have some zits right here, so it's gonna clear it up. And if you look at photos and the skin's kind of like overly plastic, then you know they're using like a Meizu phone or like a Xiaomi or something. Let's check out some photo samples. As I mentioned earlier, focus is pretty fast. Details are relatively well. I didn't take a lot of photos, but so far for what it is, looks pretty good. So right here, this is across the street from my building. So this is good lighting, but you see the texture. It actually picked up the texture of the building very nicely. The details down here too. But then now when you look at night shots, it's pretty bad. There's no details right here, a lot of noise. You can't, I mean, not a lot of light really, but down here is solid. Color accuracy is okay. Budget device, I feel like it's fine. Like right here you see it's overexposed completely, but then details is fine. So that's it for now. This is a relatively short because there's not much to say about this phone. I think for 150 bucks, if you want a phone that just works, this is worth a look. But otherwise, you know, just spend a little more, 300 bucks, you get something better. This is not Meizu's flagship, and I'm pretty sure Meizu's gonna come out. The Pro 8 that comes out later, it's gonna be a lot better. This is a little bit boring in my opinion. All they did was trim the bezels down slightly by maybe this much. Otherwise, this is like the exact same phone we've seen from Meizu like 100 times now. The processor is a little better, but that's it. So thanks for watching. I will be back with more handsets. I'm gonna get my Huawei P20 soon, so I'm gonna focus on that and also the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2S. Thanks for watching.